Metroid Other M was released on the 31st of August in North America, and it reached the rest of the world between the 2nd and the 3rd of September. For me, I picked up my copy on the 4th, and with the game in hand I headed on home, and less than 7 days later, and a grand total of 7 hours and 4 minutes of gameplay, it was complete. Did it live up to traditional Metroid games, and what would I make of the new controls and interactions between the three-dimensional environments and the useful first-person perspective view? Well, I'm about to reveal all, as this is my new video game reviews, and this is Metroid Other M. Well, welcome to the first of many new video game reviews, and yes, to kickstart this new section to the channel, we're going to be taking a look at Metroid Other M, which is the latest addition to the long-running series of Metroid, and the game's all up and ready to go, so we're going to get the background story.
A dream. I had been reliving the tragic moments of my recent past. Thanks to the hyper beam, which was given to me somehow by the baby, I laid Mother Brain to waste. And the explosion that followed destroyed planet Zebes, along with the remains of Mother Brain, the space pirates, and my long-standing nemesis, Ridley.
The story for Metroid Other M has been set right at the end of the game of Super Metroid, where Samus destroys Mother Brain along with the planet Zebes. Samus awakens back at the Galactic Federation, where she is restored back to full health, and then delivers her announcement to the Council that the Metroids along with the planet Zebes were annihilated. And then after the speech, Samus returns to her ship.
Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention. The signal was coming from a remote part of space.
Upon receiving the distress signal, Samus travels to the bottle ship, which is in the far reaches of space. Samus arrives at the bottle ship and encounters a small team of Galactic Federation soldiers led by Samus's good old friend Anthony Higgs, back from the day when they worked alongside each other in the Galactic Federation military. Also within the team is Adam Malkovich, Samus's ex-commanding officer, who is somewhat cold towards Samus. Unknowing why this team of soldiers are also in the same location, Samus helps them gain entry to this bottle ship, and as they explore, Samus is also needed to take out a huge purple monster, and upon doing so, Malkovich accepts Samus into the group, and he delivers orders to each platoon member, including you, to investigate the bottle ship.
And we've seen casualties attributed to an unidentified and lethal creature. The situation is critical. We need to gather all the information we can, but priority one is to find any survivors and bring them to safety.
The story for many at first may certainly seem somewhat sketchy and somewhat confusing, but once the game gets going, the elaborate cutscenes will really help you out, and by the end of the game, you'll be loving the story and you'll know it off by the back of your hand. And personally, I really enjoyed it. Now, talking of the game, we're going to check out the controls and the gameplay. When it comes to playing Metroid Other M, you hold the Wii Remote horizontally, which enables you to control Samus around, which you view in a third-person perspective view, but move around in huge 3D environments, which you should be able to deal with easily within moments of starting to play the game. Although sometimes it can be tricky to land on enemies perfectly, but when dealing with platforms and manoeuvring up walls and wandering around landscapes and different environments, it's extremely fun and gives you a real sense of exploration. When it comes to killing off enemies, the game incorporates an automatic firing system, allowing you to kill your enemies quickly and efficiently without having to position yourself perfectly. The Wii Remote can also be held towards the screen, which activates a first-person view, allowing you to view the surrounding area in closer detail, which is handy for finding hidden items, platforms and areas which you may need to progress. And this view is also very handy when it comes to taking out enemies and bosses along the way.
It was the first joint mission I'd been a part of since becoming a freelance bounty hunter.
For the first time, Samus has been given a voice, which certainly makes the story more interesting. However, it seems a little strange to hear her talk at first, but I thought it worked well and it makes a great connection between you and the main character.
I felt confused. Understood, Adam.
Metroid Other M's levels and environments are designed with fantastic and futuristic taste, and practically every movement you make throughout them will have you investigating, hunting and battling non-stop in this all-action game, as there are plenty of power-ups and energy tanks dotted around in secret and hidden places, and on the odd occasion you might be scratching your head wondering how to find them. And don't be surprised if you don't get stuck on the odd occasion too, but that's the one thing about Metroid Other M, as you can always check your map, as the location is always marked and laid out for you, which is kind of a shame, as Metroid has always been about finding the way forward by yourself.
Regarding auxiliary weapons, the use of bombs has been authorized. As far as your other weapons go, we will continue to investigate and authorize use as we can.
Also, the way that Metroid Other M's story has been laid out means that instead of searching and hunting for power weapons and suit upgrades, Samus is already kitted out with the necessary items for you to use throughout the game. But until you reach certain locations and that you have progressed through the game, further will they be activated. But once they are activated, dealing with enemies and levels certainly becomes a lot more fun, and the main boss battles towards the end are fantastic. Metroid Other M is non-stop action apart from a few lengthy cutscenes which certainly give you a bit of a break, but the beautifully designed landscapes and environments are fantastic to roam about in, and the enemies and bosses will keep you entertained for hours. And the combination of the controls laid out by the Wii Remote really work well, if somewhat strange at first. Metroid Other M is a great addition to the Wii and the Metroid franchise, even though it's slightly different. Well, for me personally, Metroid Other M is a huge hit and a brilliant title to land on the Wii, and if this is what we can all expect to be playing in the future, then it's very exciting. Metroid Other M delivers fantastic action with well thought out enemies and bosses which lead to epic battles on great proportions, and I really enjoyed conquering each of the major bosses. I've also heard a lot of people talk about that there are too many cutscenes within the game, and yes, there are quite a few, and some are fairly lengthy, but I thought they really added to the game and gave you an idea of the full story and kept you in the action. And for me personally, it was a big hit, and the visuals were stunning. And each of these levels have all been littered with hidden items and puzzles which all need to be worked out and found to enable you to progress through the game and keep you in the action. And all of this will certainly keep you very busy as well. Metroid Other M is a little short in total, as I managed to complete it in just over 7 hours, but after the main credits are rolled, there is a bonus mission which will give you an extra couple of hours of gameplay to sink your teeth into, as Samus will return to the model ship before the Galactic Federation destroy it. And apart from a glitch which I stumbled across halfway through playing the game, which saw me start the game from the very beginning, I would say that Metroid Other M is a fantastic title and should fit into anyone's Wii collection perfectly, and is also a great addition to the franchise so far. And with all this considered, Metroid Other M for the Wii gets an 8 out of 10 from me.